a chance to get examined by Dr. Wong, the answers will probably be fairly general, and you should always check with your physician for the answers. Let's talk about mental well-being and chronic irritability or persistent low mood. Tell us about the red flags that those produce.
Yeah, I mean, you know those people, the ones that are a little crabby, there's just nothing right, they're just pessimists. All of those negative feelings can actually really lead, or could be a symptom of, depression, anxiety, PTSD. Maybe they're harboring some anxiety that we're not unaware of, and they're just having this chronic negativity, right? And that chronic negativity can also produce some signs of pain. I mean, I had a patient that any time at work, if she was stressed, overwhelmed, was upset, she would have severe pain on her side. And it was over her liver, just in that area. And then we did some detoxification, some changes in stress and mood, and actually now she has minimal pain. Every now and then she gets sick when she knows she's been overwhelmed and she needs to readjust. But so there was a correlation there.
So if I'm feeling a lot of anxiety, it manifests itself physically in some kind of way.
I think people who have those what is that, the Toastmasters, right? And you're gonna go do that public speaking. I think everybody knows that. Your heart beats a little faster, your hands a little sweaty, your stomach kind of grumbles, maybe you run into the bathroom too much, right? Those are physical symptoms just by the thought of you giving public speaking, right? So what if you change that and it was that you had pleasure and giving back and enjoyment, and then you felt that you're being helpful. What about the positive mood that you have? You're going to have less symptoms. You're going to feel a little bit joy. I always say that the way you're thinking, if you have stinking thinking, right? So you don't want to have any stinking thinking. That's kind of why talk therapy helps a little bit, because the way you think is the way you feel.
I often, and I'm the opposite end of that, I feel so much more comfortable speaking in front of a large crowd. I do, and when I'm about to perform or whatever in front of a large crowd, I feel really good. I think I get a good endorphin rush.
Yes.
And yes, You're right, my heart does beat a little faster, but it's for a good, it feels good.
Yeah. Well, you're getting that, definitely. You're getting those neurotransmitters are working for you.
Okay, and our mood is a tangible thing. You can actually, when you're, let me just ask you the question. When you first wake up in the morning, do you already know the mood you're going to be in for the day?
Well, unfortunately, I'm always in the same mood. It's always a great day. It's always, it's wonderful. I'm not, I feel fortunate that I'm not one of those that have to give myself a pep talk, right? There are those that are just chemically, and their neurotransmitters are off. Maybe it's because of their diet, maybe it's because of trauma, whatever it is, they're waking up with already a level of anxiety, right? So I feel for those people, because then you're gonna have to practice some measures to counter that. But fortunately, I wake up feeling good every day, so it's
congratulations there. What is the chemistry behind depression?
So I think a lot of it is some of it's gonna be food, right? So let's just say that you eat a lot of processed food that are cardboard stuff that is just like saying that they're putting a little bit of nutrients in there, and you don't eat some things like the feel-good food. So yesterday, I think I felt really good because some friends gave us some avocados off of their tree, and they were pretty ripe. So I was like, my husband said, "You gotta eat all those, right? You gotta eat them fast." I'm like, "Oh, no problem." So I just opened them up, made a batch of guacamole. Avocado is one of those foods that it stabilizes your hormones and makes your mood, so it's a mood elevator food. Not only does it have healthy fats, and it's good for your brain and all of that, but it's also gonna help elevate your mood. So I know, so avocado, so we had a lot of guacamole. Another one is like wild caught salmon. That's high in fatty acids, which is very good for the brain. It also has B12, which is also helps transmit. So all of these are in your neural pathways that, like, so one of the feel-good vitamins is B6. Some people don't get enough B6. So if you have a little mood disorder, you want to have some B6. And so antioxidants, this is what helps it. So having good diet is one thing that can help.
So we can find B6 in things like blackberries.
Oh yeah.
And pomegranates and stuff
yes,
like that.
Yes, grapes are good. Yes.
I want to go back to avocados for a second. First of all, how cool to live next to a neighbor with an avocado tree. And secondly, avocado and the gut. Is avocado good for the gut? I've heard differing tales on this.
I think there is some fiber in there.
Okay.
So I think fiber's always good. I don't know, what is the tale that you've heard that was negative about the avocado?
I heard that it's not good for the gut. I literally, and I get this, and again, this is a social media thing. I've read, and that's why I need you to dispel this.
So I don't know the ins and outs of that one, but let's just say we take one where I know a little bit more about. Let's just say eggs, right? Eggs have come in fashion, they've come out of fashion. Right. You eat the yolk, it's bad for your cholesterol. Then you eat it's the purest protein. So all of it is what kind of study and what the study says and what component, what they're looking at. And then like we said the other time when we're talking about red meat, it's like who's funding it, right? So I'm not so sure. You have to tell me who funded that study, what was the study about, why did they say it wasn't good for it. I know that I think it's going to be good. I don't really know what the negatives are, but so for certain people, eggs could be bad, right? And for certain people, it could be wonderful for them. So it's not in isolation. So I'm not 100%, but I think overall, I think it's going to be good because it's got fiber in there, it's got healthy fats. I'm not sure what the negative. I'd have to research that one.
I got to be honest with you, I love a good egg and avocado burrito. You throw some eggs and avocado inside a tortilla, I'm good to go for the day.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So talk to me about a lack of social connections and the type of problems that can lead to if you're isolated, and that's almost like a snowball rolling down a hill, isn't it?
100%. I mean, I think you talked about the listener who had the fractured hip, and we talked about how they were in rehab, and I talked about my dog who was having who was in isolation. He wasn't with his family. So I think that all mammals that's why you see mammals that run in herds and pods, because we're social animals. And when you're in isolation, you're thrown off to die. So so your neurotransmitters are not feeling, I feel so good, I'm so lonely here, I'm by myself. The neurotransmitters are like, I have no friends, I'm not talking to anybody, it's not during the holidays and things are getting lonelier, and then you're throwing off neurotransmitters that are not the happiest things, right? So it's that community, that sense of belonging, that sense of helping, just giving to others and just being part of something really just lifts your spirits and actually just helps you produce some more of the transmitters that's going to make you feel good.
That's kind of a double-edged sword. I was talking about reading the avocado gut thing on the social media. That's kind of a double-edged sword now, because let's say someone is, and we have a listener question that's kind of about this when we get into later, but let's say someone is bedridden or isolated or alone, and they'll turn to social media to feel that inclusion in a group or in something other than just being alone, yet that might eventually be harmful as well.
Well, there's so many studies on social media, and that's something new that's coming out, and we have yet to know what's really going on, but I guess there's that FOMO, right? The fear of what's going on, and nobody's posting the negativities out there, right? So it's a little exaggerated. So if you're isolated and you're feeling like, I can't get out, I can't do those things, and it gives you a negative feeling like, I wish I could be out there, I can't do it. It's a negative thing, then I can see how seeing the social media is not going to be a positive thing. But I think more is going to be where we have those companion dogs and those therapy dogs, people who go to those different facilities. We have senior support places where they'll go and visit the homes and just sitting and talking with them and just going to visit, and then getting in. I think it's better to have, we have all of these now remote. I think the trend is after COVID, everyone wanted to work remote. I think the trend now is going back to being in person. Is it Amazon now 100% going back?
Yeah.
Right? So that, because you lose that connectivity, you lose that bond, you lose your friendship. So I heard so many people said, yeah, I started working remote, but I didn't develop any friendships, right? Because I was working in isolation and I just saw them, but I didn't go afterwards and have a drink or have dinner or do something with them. So I think, yeah, there's a way that is a connectivity, because you have a group, if you're in a room chat where you're chatting about a subject and you get connected. But I think we still want to see each other in person, so there's now these hybrids. So I think if you're in isolation, a hybrid is good, right? You don't feel so isolated when you're watching, what is that, on TV, some show, and you feel connected because you're just watching the television. You feel okay, but it's still not great.
It's not a face-to-face
It's not a
human
face-to-
contact,
right?
which is
Yeah.
essential for us.
So I think that's what's important.
And when you talk about balancing your mood and finding ways to enhance your mood, that does include diet and mindfulness, right?
Right. Oh yes. So I have this thing that I do. So one of the things that I'm doing is working with people's habits. Right? So, and creating habits, they usually say takes 90 days, 3 months, but it takes a long time. And then, so I'm trying to change lifestyle habits to create something that is better, that goes along with their genetic makeup and their cellular makeup, because they've created something that was just not good for them. Now we have to create something that's good for them. And so the key to habits is that you have to have the trigger. So like for you, getting up in the morning is a trigger. You want that breakfast burrito. And then you have that breakfast burrito and your tummy feels so good and you feel so happy and you have that joy. Now that body has anticipated what that breakfast burrito is going to taste like, and you want, just like that cinnamon bun, when you walk by and you smell that, don't you want it? That's that trigger. You smell it and you're like, gotta have it. So that's the trigger. Then once you set a trigger and do it, so I always say, brushing your teeth is a good time. Most people brush their teeth every morning. So you do something and you change your habit and you relate it to that. Then you do the activity, and then you have to have where the body anticipates it. So you smell that cinnamon bun, the smell, you anticipate that you're gonna get it and it tastes and you want it, and that's the reward. The body wants that reward. Well, what I figured out is that I can't wait, because I used to work with people and say, okay, 90 days, you're going to get that reward and the body's going to anticipate that reward. I'm like, we are not there. We want immediate gratification. So the simple thing is that I found is that you change your habit. Let's just say you're not going to eat that snack at 11 o'clock at night. And so the trigger is the clock, 11 o'clock. And then what you usually do is you have chips. And now let's just say you don't have the chips and you have a glass of water. And then you go, yeah, you give yourself a high five. You just look in the mirror or you just high five yourself. You said, yes, I did it. It feels so good. And all of a sudden, wow, I didn't have that chip. I had that glass of water. I feel good. It's just that simple.
So I again, another endorphin rush for me is, and I hate to sound so cheesy, but coming to work. I love being here. I love what I do, and obviously the audience that I share this with, and the back and forth with you and other hosts that we have here. So I get that endorphin rush. I get that cinnamon smelling feeling as I'm opening, as I'm unlocking this, and I get excited to be here.
That's why you don't need to go on vacations, because this is a vacation.
It really is, and we talked about that. So you and your husband a little different as far as that goes, right?
Yeah, because, I love my work, and I do work hard, but to be honest, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So, I'm not exactly doing that, so.
Right. I would never have guessed you to be that, I swear.
I would have been an awesome stay-at-home mom.
So you work, you're also an ER surgeon, and you see horrific things. And I don't want to take you too deep into this well, but Does that affect the rest of your day or the rest of your night once you're done? How much? And do you have to pull yourself out of it?
Unfortunately, I'm a pretty jaded person, and I'm pretty, we talk about the chakras, right? And I don't know how much of you all believe in that, but, when somebody kind of, I try to, sometimes I need some help to relax and just kind of get down. And then they're like, oh, I could feel your heart chakra was closed, and I was trying to open it. It would not open. And they said, oh, I realized maybe that's protecting you. So I'm pretty well insulated. I have to say, kids are where I do get hurt, where it affects me the most. I mean, I wanted to, I had a child abuse case, and the kid didn't, ended up dying, and I was about to pummel and murder the dad, because I knew it was the dad. And the police were there, and I thank goodness they were there, because they saved me from myself. So usually that's when I feel it the most. Unfortunately, I work now as a place where we don't get that kind of cases anymore. I've kind of insulated myself from that. So I have to say that I'm pretty hard on that, because it doesn't affect me, because I just move on my day because it happens. I mean, I pronounce someone daily, in the ER or something, and I just, then I go have a sandwich. I mean, it seems a little callous, but it's a more protective. And then my husband, who wasn't in that, every day he's like, so tell me about your work. So what did you see today? I'm like, you know what? I just don't really want to go there. Right. I did it. I'm done. I'm moved on. I'm not reliving it.
Right. Okay. And that is probably as healthy an attitude and healthy a spirit as you can have for that. And I commend you for that, and admire you for that as well. Just a brief, quick dumb story here. As a much younger man, I had a roommate that worked in a gynecologist's office. And at first, she would come home and tell the stories, things that were happening throughout the day. And I was really fascinated. But a few months into this, I was like, all right, I'm done. Don't tell me any more stories, please.
I know. I hate it. Sometimes I'm like the worst guest ever, because I was at some fancy hoity-toity people's dinner for Thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving. And then they're like, oh, tell us some ER stories. And I was like, okay. And I went there, and I was like, you could just see, and then I saw the face, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. Probably wasn't where I should have gone.
You didn't read the room. You didn't read the room well at the time. Well, thank you. I'd love to ask you, first of all, October 24th is right around the corner.
Oh, yes.
What can we expect when we go visit you?
We're just going to be chatting about the secrets of longevity. I am not sharing that on the radio.
You won't.
No, I'm not going to share that on the radio. That, you're going to have to come in and see me in person. We'll chat it up. That's my favorite thing, is making sure that you have vitality and excellent health span throughout your years till the very end. That is my goal. And I'm going to keep that a secret.
Keep that a secret, and then we'll talk about it immediately following that chat that you have. It starts at 5:30 at your office over on Thalia, and
Yes.
Already listeners are interested, and they're asking you questions here. I want to get to a couple of the questions if I can. Okay. The first one, let's go back to what we were talking about, and kind of, this is, she doesn't give her age, but she asks, how do you keep the spirits up of a parent who is hobbled or bedridden?
Well, you're going to find out. I mean, that is difficult, right? Because it is mind, body, spirit. And that's when I evaluate somebody, and I have people that bring in their 93-year-old, their 92-year-old parent, and they say, I need them. So first, when I evaluate them, I have to see, is their spirit broken? Pretty much if their spirit is broken, it's going to be difficult, because they have given in. Now, if you can find what is their aha moment, what is it that is about your spirit? So he was 92 at the time, and the daughters brought him in, and he was an architect, and he loved doing the architect. He still wanted to go in, but he was in so much pain, he just was like done. They said he's done. So, and they started having a little bit of pre-diabetes, so we worked on it. And so what I was able to do was like, so what is it that he wanted to do? He was done. He wanted to go back to the office, right? But he couldn't make it because his joints, his knees. So I just worked on that, and his spirits are back. He's motivated. So I said, if we changed your diet, you're going to get to that office and you're going to be able to do what you want to do in that office. So we worked a little bit on the diet, little supplements, things like that, and he's in the office. He's still in the office. He's still going on.
Love that. Thank you. That was a happy ending right there. That was really cool. Thank you. So I'm going to remind our audience that as she answers these questions, she hasn't had a chance to examine you. So regardless of the answer and how great it is and how much I would say, wow, perfect answer, that you should check with your own physicians. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yes, 100%.
All right, so I have a 58-year-old male that wants to know, is there a danger in getting the shingles, the flu, and COVID vaccines together?
Okay, so each person is different, right? So, and you're introducing the viruses, right? So theoretically, we are bombarded with hundreds of viruses daily. Now, whether or not your immune system succumbs to them is one thing. So if you end up having not enough sleep, you went out partying and you had a lot of alcohol and you ate a lot of sugar and you already have allergies, indigestion, a lot of comorbidities and all of these things, and then you decided to do all 3 vaccines on that next day, I'd say that probably your body is not going to handle it very well. But let's just say that you sleep well, you didn't have a lot of sugar, you have a great diet, you exercise, you do all the 4 pillars that I talk about. Introducing these 3 different viruses shouldn't be any problem for you because you're getting bombarded with 100 other viruses.
And on that note, when you mentioned sleep well, I thought to myself, I eat generally late in the evening, and I sleep well. I think I sleep pretty well. Can someone who's not used to doing that, to eating late, does that affect their sleep as far as maybe having bad dreams or nightmares, stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, it does. It absolutely affects the body because the body is supposed to be working during the day, right? So you're using it, you're eating, which you're fueling it, and you're giving it, and now it's taking the fuel, it's doing all these processes to digest and give the nutrients for you to use the body. I mean, I loved it. My son was just like, he just wants to use the body and he wants to abuse it. I said, well, if you don't give it the right nutrients and the sleep and all of it needs, it's going to get sick. So recently just got sick and then was miraculously surprised that I said, you just need to sleep. He slept 11 hours and it was better. I'm like, yeah, because did you tell your immune system what to do? Do you tell your heart what to do? Do you tell your spleen, your liver, do you tell any of it what to do or how to do it? No, you just want to use the body. And if you want to use the body, you've got to take care of it. It's a temple. You got to take care of it to be able to use it. So, sleep. And so, when you're sleeping is when the body is restoring and repairing and getting you ready so you can use it the next day. So now, if you give it a bunch of food to digest and metabolize, it doesn't have time to do a lot of the other work it needs to do.
It's too busy helping you digest.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the clarity. I have a 30-year-old female asking about acne at 30. Is that common, and do you have any suggestions?
Okay, so acne at 30, I mean, your hormones could be changing, so it can be like that. It could be the diet. It could be high sugar if you've got candida. It could be.
What is candida?
Candida is a yeast. So we have parasites. We have fungi. We have bacteria, viruses. They all live in our body in harmony. But let's just say that you tend to eat more sugar, or drink more alcohol, or eat more, white bread, things that turn into sugary products, or a high glycemic fruit. So that converts it. So that's going to just feed in the gut more of the fungi. And so you're going to have more yeast. And so when you have more yeast, that kind of makes staph a little bit more prominent, and then your skin's going to be more a conduit. You're going to have more of that. So there's many different factors, whether it's hormonal, whether it's going to be diet related, are you getting cystic acne, or what are the issues that are creating it? So we'd have to find out the root cause of that.
And that's what happens when they walk into your office.
Yes.
If this 30-year-old were to walk into your office, these are the things that you test for. And then you get to the root of the cause, and then you take care of it.
Absolutely.
All right, wonderful. Thank you for that. A 37-year-old male, and I don't want you throwing anyone under the bus here or whatever, but 37-year-old male wants to know, what is your medical opinion of chiropractic?
Oh, okay. Well, there are good radio hosts and there are bad radio hosts. So there are.
Thank you very much.
And we happen to be with the excellent radio host, right? So the same with chiropractors, right? So for me, what I look for a chiropractor, because it's not about bone alignment, it's about muscles. So if you have a chiropractor who's talking about we need to crack and adjust and get the bones back in a line, because that's not what's throwing the bones off, it's the muscles. So it's your imbalance on your body, it's the attachments, it's how you're set up. So it's going to be a lot of, so you'll find that there are some chiropractors, they have a masseuse in their office, right? So the masseuse is doing all the work for them, because when they get those muscles relaxed and stretchy and pliable, then they can move, or if they want to make an adjustment. But a lot of times it's just getting those muscles relaxed and aligned, and they're not going to be pulling it off. So if you have, for example, I'll take a personal example. I have a short femur on my left leg. So I kind of looked always at my family, and I said, there's something wrong with their pelvis, and I couldn't figure it out. And then I was like, I have a little bit of low back, and then I realized and I would go to people and they say, yeah, this left leg seems a little bit short. And then they would like stretch me out, and they're like, okay, now they're a little bit more equal. Well, it's actually because my femur was short, so my muscles are tighter, they're not in line, and so I know when I do my yoga and I stretch and lengthen that out, my hip has more mobility, and then my back doesn't hurt at all. And the other thing is that my feet felt fabulous. I didn't know that my feet, that I thought they always massage and they're getting old, but no, it's because the muscles, because it's all aligned. So if you have a chiropractor that says, we just need to get your bones in line, I'd say I wouldn't go to that chiropractor. I'd go to one who's looking at you and looking at your muscles and adjusting that, and look at this whole philosophy.
Thank you. So that was as clear as anything. And just like there's good radio hosts and bad radio hosts, there's fantastic answers from doctors and not so fantastic, and that's fantastic. I have just somebody messing with your spine, first of all. Boom. When it's okay to begin with, and just stretching and cracking, it's not good. All right, so let's talk about the 24th again, and without you giving away any secrets at all. It is at your studio on Dahlia, your office on Dahlia. Starts at 5:30 p.m.
Yes.
People will come in, you get to meet and greet them. Can they actually, will there be demonstrations of some of the machinery that you do?
If people are interested, definitely, but I was focusing on longevity and just going to talk about different tips and things that really, and what it means and what you can do. And then, and obviously I really think M-Sculpt is a secret to longevity because it helps with your core strength, but I was going to talk more about cellular function, genetics, things like that. But and we talked about muscles, but I think that is an important thing. So I would definitely give a tour, let people take a look. Depending on how many people we have, maybe they could take have a little demo on the MCella or something like that. I'm just gonna let it go, be audience driven,
okay.
And I kind of like to go with the flow and then answer questions, but I wanted to give them a little bit of meat in there in terms of the subject.
And as far as what we've discussed today, that mood plays a vital role in our health span. You're also going to be covering that, I would imagine, and the vital role of mood on that. How do people find you if it's not here?
You know, so I was thinking about that. I think the easiest way is just to go to my website, because on the website, when you pop up, it goes, there's a way to connect with me. And then you can send an email that I'll get immediately. And also there's a way to book your own complimentary discovery call. So just go to the website. So it's ANITAWANGMD.com. And then you can just book a time to chat with me, because I do that to see if we're a good fit.
Dr. Anita Wong, I'm booking 11 o'clock next Monday to chat with you if you're available. I'd love to have you back. As always, a very informative and clear conversation. Thank you, Dr. Wong.
Love being here.
All right, we'll talk to you next week. 11:35 the time.